What would you do if the woman you gave your heart to looked you in the eye and calmly told you she had 9 children for 9 different men and she was still seeing more behind your back? Lagos never sleeps. Not for men like Tunde Adebayo. From the 28th floor of a glass skyscraper in Victoria Island, the city looks like a sea of restless lights. Downforce honking, street vendors shouting, generators humming like distant thunder. But inside his office, everything was quiet. Too quiet. Tunde liked it that way. At 34, he was everything people admired. Tall, sharply dressed, dangerously handsome, and the youngest regional manager of a multinational firm in Nigeria. His name alone opened doors. But his heart? That was a locked room no one entered anymore. Not after her. No one in the office talked about what happened 2 years ago, but everyone knew something had broken in him. Since then, Tunde had turned himself into a machine. First to arrive, last to leave. Meetings, contracts, numbers, repeat. No distractions, no attachments, no love.
Guy, you go kill yourself with work, oh. That was Kunle, leaning lazily against his office door one evening, grinning like he always did. Behind him stood Femi and Sadiq, laughing, whispering, each with a different woman clinging to their arms like expensive accessories. Tunde didn't even look up from his laptop. Close the door when you are leaving. Kunle scoffed. See this one. You know they tire. Tunde's voice was calm, flat. Of what? Of pretending say you no be human being. That made him pause, just for a second, but it was enough. Weeks passed, then months. The teasing didn't stop. If it wasn't friends bringing women into the office lounge, it was delivery girls smiling a little too long, hoping for something more.
Sometimes, strangers sent mails to his desk with 4 numbers tucked beneath the plates. Tunde ignored them all until one Friday. Tonight, no excuses. Kole said, tossing khakis in the air. We're going out. I'm busy. You are coming. I'm not. Femi leaned in, lowering his voice. Or we start telling people why you really don't date anymore. Silence. The air shifted. Tunde slowly closed his laptop. What time? The club pulsed with life. Lights flickered with lightning. Music thumped so hard it felt like a heartbeat. Bodies moved, collided, laughed. Alive in ways Tunde had forgotten. He stood stiffly at first, drink untouched in his hand, eyes scanning without interest. Until he saw her. She wasn't trying. That's what caught his attention. While others danced for attention, she danced like no one was watching. Alone, effortless, free. Her laughter, soft but real, cut through the noise like a melody. She wore simplicity like luxury, and somehow she stood out more than everyone else. Tunde found himself moving before thinking. Hi. She turned. Her eyes met his, and for the first time in 2 years, something inside him shifted. Her name was Amara. They talked. Not the shallow kind of talking Tunde was used to, but real conversations. About Lagos, about life, about dreams that sounded too fragile to say out loud. She didn't ask about his money, didn't care about his position, didn't try to impress him. And that confused him more than anything else. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months. Tunde began to change. He left the office earlier. He laughed more. He slept better. Even his staff noticed. Sir, you are smiling these days. He didn't deny it. Amara became his peace. They went out together. Beaches, quiet restaurants, long drives with no destination. Sometimes they said nothing at all, and it still felt complete. For the first time in years, Tunde allowed himself to hope, allowed himself to feel, allowed himself to love. But love has a way of asking questions, and sometimes it waits until you are too deep to walk away. It started small. A missed call at midnight, a sudden change in mood, unexplained absences, excuses that didn't quite align. Tunde noticed. Of course he did. He was a man who built his life on details. But love made him hesitate, made him doubt his instincts, made him patient.
Until one night, he saw something he couldn't ignore.